Superbooth 24. I'm here not on the booth, but in the cozy tent here with Andre and with Julia behind the camera. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. You?
I'm fine, thanks. Julia?
Hey there, nice to see you.
I think you know Julia from many concerts, also at Superbooth. I want to talk with you a bit about your company. Because we heard in the past also a lot of your music, and you have also a company making Eurorack modules. So where comes the company from?
Well, I originally I was born in Ukraine. I was born in the capital, and I mean, you know how everyone is here in the business. Probably they starting with the hobbies and so on. And I was starting with the hobby of getting some gas, and afterwards I wanted to improve some look, and I wanted to modify even the synthesizers. I wanted to modify the pitch wheels with a transparent. Now everyone is transparent wheels. So before it was not. And I was like modifying. Sometimes I burned some circuits, and I went to the service centers of the synthesizers like Yamaha, and I'm saying like I got the synthesizers like second hand. It was like that already. I was ashamed because I was like it was like some chips were burned, and it was like fixed. I was fixing. I was working with some service centers with Nordlead, with Yamaha. So in a way, I was.
You learned yourself this soldering, your expertise in analog or digital technologies, how circuits works. Is it something you learned yourself, or is it you learned on a school, or? So, what is your educational background? Is it technical?
It was in simultaneously. It was like also I was getting on with like learning with electronics, like also with DIY. There was no kind of proper DIY kits, but I had a background with mathematics. Like I think it's PhD. It's called something like that. Maybe not a proper one, but I'm master. Let's say in mathematics. I'm not like a very good at mathematics, let's say, and maybe I'm not that good in the programming. But I understand how it works. I understand everything. How is it models work? How the circuits works, and I'm good at I started to design my schematics. So I just learned to be an analog circuit designer, and afterwards I learned how to be the digital circuit designer, and basically simultaneously I learned how to be the user interface designer. That's how you just put them all together, and because what you can do based on my skills.
We know each other. We free each other a long time. You lived also in Vienna, and now you're based in Spain or in Barcelona or in.
Basically, I was living 2 years in Vienna, and I was starting to the module, the first for the generator. I did it was pretty intense and hardcore because first 50 or 60 units. I did with hands, and it's a kind of intense thing because it was a double-sided SMD assembly, and it was spending like almost full day. I had to solder like one first generator, and it was like really like 200 or 300 components on one side, and the same from another side, and then the pods, the jacks, and so on. And the jacks are not that easy to find because there was not a tongue, and the factories where either the Chinese was very bad or like a Mauser, the jacks that were not like fitting nicely. I made further generators, and actually they started already to became in Schneidersladen. So we sent a few 1 or 2 units like promo, like a sample to Schneidersladen, and the guys were just instantly say, we want a few more, So, and of course, the Eurorack was starting at that moment, and there was not kind of complex modules. But in the end, I see that other companies were doing more simple modules, but at the same time, they had a bigger range of modules, and we was concentrated more complex ones. So we come up with a less range. I mean, I don't know, was it better good? But I mean, it's like
But with your interest was always in the Buchla 259 oscillator for the beginning, for this first module. It was I think, the design. You always had the idea to make a Buchla style West Coast oscillator.
Well, it was interesting, because it was not there was not access to that. It was like there were only a few units made, and it was still like before it was like kind of secret society, not secret society is how they call it, There was like mostly at the forums, at the Mafwigler forum, and people like were speaking with numbers, and you speak like I have 251, I have 281. People know the things. So of course, like I wanted to know how it, and I think it was like kind of a fresh look just on what it is with the East Coast thing, And so I started. I wanted to settle the business. And the business is not that easy to settle in Austria or Germany, so it was like I need to hire the electronic engineer, just signing the papers. Even like so, it's like because I didn't have the proper like courses or diploma, just electronic engineer. So and after that, so it was like going. Okay, I just went back to Ukraine, and like in 1 week, I made a company. Like in next day, literally, I just made in 1 week. I received the VAT number, and let's say in 1.5 months, we already exported first generators to Alex4 to Schneidersladen, let's say. And so it was a kind of.
And then it moved further. I say the terminal.
Yeah,
what's it called?
It was terminal.
The USB MIDI processor,
Yeah, it was shuttle control,
and grand terminal, and so on. So the company on your portfolio always grow and grow and grow. It becomes even bigger.
Well, I mean, it's natural grow, It's not that like kind of you have 10 new modules, so you have 20 new modules on the show, It's I think it was like each module was like 1 year or something, So then I think in 3 years of running, I think we made the shuttle control, we did the terminal, and then we did grand terminal, and some auto tuners and cockpit with the encoders and sidechain. So in the end, we put them into the shuttle system. So that was a kind of natural growth of the thing.
And you are now in Spain to see Endorphins as a company. How big are you now? Because you are Andreas, Julia, and how many people are still in charge of making modules, or is it now become a bigger?
No, I mean, time changing, So we have different people working with us. So people come and go and straight, but important that we remain, Currently we are two of us with Julia. So Julia does all the marketing, and she does communication with all the shops, and everyone knows her. And I'm in charge of development, of servicing, and basically like in general running. And we have Eric with us, and he's in charge of assembly, final assembly, quality control, and shipping. Because basically, since the beginning, since I was even like started from in Ukraine, everything, it was. We started to make everything on the factories, So the factories did all SMD assemblies and did through-hole assembly. And what we did like in the evenings with Julia, just watching some movies, and we just like, screwing the nuts on the faceplates, So that's how the evenings usually spent. Now that kind of like then basically the people who come to us mostly like the only job you can do. I mean, it's all like the typical job at modular company is like you put the panels, you screw the nuts, and you just flash the things. You just quality control. So I mean, just testing the thing.
So far, you did I think your designs mostly yourself, but you have a collaboration with Andrew Huang with the Ghost module.
Yeah. So,
how differs this collaboration from your own designs? I say, when there a lot of input from Andrew inside this module, or how can we see this collaboration between you and Andrew?
No, well, you know that all the modules that we did before, like all the Grand Terminal, like all the things. I think the biggest impact was the Grand Terminal because it was a kind of the modules that we switched fully to the DSP, and it was actually announced at the first Superbooth. Right now it's like 10 Superbooths. Which one it is?
I think 10, yeah.
Eight,
yeah.
8 probably. Yeah. So the first Superbooth it was in Funkhaus, right?
Yeah.
So then we announced the Grand Terminal. So we had different like 8 types of filters, you know, like low pass, high pass, but I mean still like it was a kind of like a MOOC style ladder. There was a state variable and so on, and then we started to make the effects. So that's kind of well, I was always like working with different programmers, and there was one programmer from Kiev. He lives, by the way, in Vienna right now. So he since a few years. So we worked with him a lot on the effects, and so just basically that we came up with the idea or something like that. So I just showed the interface, like let's do that, and said okay, let's do that, and we basically. So I did the PCB, I did the prototype, and he came up with the code, and afterwards I was testing. And basically it's how the things come up, you know, pretty simple, straightforward, nothing like something like crazy. But the thing is, like with the Grand Terminal, after a few times, so based on the engine of the Grand Terminal, we did the Black Noir and did the Queen of Pentacles with the effects, with the filters and so on. So we have all the blocks, and there was already compressors, there was already distortions there was reverbs and delays, basically they were there. So we already had the kind of like amount of blocks designed already, you know. So and then when the Andrew came up with the idea of collaboration, so there was not a kind of like that was that thing or something. There was idea of collaborating. So just in general, let's do something. Let's say like he gave some initial ideas. We changed in reverse. So it was a.
So he saw a need for something like a compact multi-effects unit or something which is versatile and flexible at the same time.
I think it was a different thing. I don't remember, and maybe I cannot even share what was that. Because you know, lots of people, lots of companies, they communicate with each other. They sign some NDAs and they just share some ideas, you know. So and we actually we were spoken with on a few ideas, and actually they are still alive. But we were exchanging back and forth. So what we can do, because the idea was probably just let's like do something interesting, something small, because he has a potential of and I think probably maybe with the Andrew there was a kind of became like a massive collaboration with I mean, there was like a div kit, only a few, but mostly afterwards, I see lots of collaborations. They saw like, oh, as Andrew could do that, we can do also. I don't know, but yeah.
But do you think that the input from a collaboration like this is different from the working side from you than making your own modules with your, let's say, I want to have this module now, or if you have another guy besides you saying, giving you other insights, or inputs, and
no, like look back to collaboration, you know. So the thing is about all the inputs. So of course, like. We have our possibilities, you know, and we cannot like literally like we are making Eurorack modules. I cannot instantly like, you know, create kind of fretless instruments, for example. I cannot create like boxes or something. Right now we can do standalone boxes. I know how it's 3D works, and basically we engage that. But before we knew how to make Eurorack modules, and it's good to something like that. To do a collaboration, it's good to make it fast, you know. If it's like something long and something complex, it becomes a burden. So from the Grand Terminal, why I was telling you about the Grand Terminal is that we have lots of blocks and so on already designed. So the idea was like to properly arrange that boxes in a fresh, interesting idea, and it actually takes out that based on the Ghost module that we basically came up. So we took very sincere blocks, but we put them in a kind of a nice layout, maybe probably straightforward layout, but in the end that layout was actually the most correct as you wish, just a generic layout. And as you can see, lots of manufacturers afterwards they get inspired. So I see just like deja vus of lots of kind of spin-offs and like inspirations. I see the inspiration. I see people get inspired, like manufacturers get inspired, other bloggers get inspired. Like I think that we are on the yes, yeah. So I think we are on a good.
And I see in Spain or generally in Barcelona region, so there's a huge community. There's Befaco, there's so many other different companies. Do you work with these companies together, or you share ideas, or maybe you give feedback on their releases, or is there also a collaboration thing in this developer scene in Spain?
Well, I don't think that the scene is so big, I would say, so still people live in their own worlds, and people do their own projects, so I wouldn't say that the scene is like personally everyone is like I am involved into that scene. I think the scene, at least for us, it's kind of stopped working after or during the COVID, let's say, because basically there was a kind of open space where people come in and they on Thursday, on Fridays, like come into Befaco and they were sharing like beers and everyone smoked weed and unlimited quantities, So it was a kind of fun time, like a students back again, in a way, yeah. So that was a fun thing, but basically after the COVID, we moved to another office, and it was actually good for us because it was a bigger space, and we wanted to grow up to be a bit from that small store up front thing. It was not that well protected. It was a bit of like with lots. We were surrounded by lots of glass, and it was like lots of people were passing by. It's like you are sitting in the office, but we are like sitting in the shop, and. So I would say that the run now, I see like some manufacturers come to Spain, but basically they come because of the climate and they just like maybe warmer things and something like I noticed some new faces, but I don't think that it will just impact on some collaborative things because there are collaborations like Winter Modular Plankton. They did something together. Yeah, but it's still like on a level. So in the end, it doesn't matter that what they do. It just matter how it will be go in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you see currently the market, the Eurorack? Do we reached already a point where many people have everything, or do you see still points where there's still points to tackle? Say, it's still a need of this and this module, and we need there should be better there, and because we are it's definitely a lot of new stuff coming in. I think 10 years or 8 years Superbooth. But when I compare to Superbooth before, the first one at the Funkhaus, and now there are plenty of modules of everything. So do you see any needs still, or where's the Eurorack modular market right now, you think? And you're thinking?
Well, I think like Eurorack is still a niche market, and Superbooth it's not a Eurorack festival only, it's also like lots of, and you see like it's almost like half of their music master in the end, like lots of coming up, so it's only manufacturers. I think that Eurorack still have potentiality to grow. But especially like for example, like I think it's not the matter of getting like manufacturing lots of modules, but it's a matter of making modules more optimized and more it's not the matter of like lots of amount of modules, but like simplification. Yeah, maybe simplification. That's exactly, yeah. But at the same time, so probably right now we see like even like before there was like a huge complex modules, like people are running out of space and that people like cannot even like get the big ones, and everyone started to make small modules.
And you I say so I see you're trying to make the models more in a performance sides, more that you are trying that they are more people that they can travel with, and they have a system they can also making performance of it. It's because also with your new modules, because you the new Godspeed, it has MIDI.
But like everyone says like, oh, it's performance friendly, like everything done for performance. If people say, like right now, if some manufacturer says it's performance friendly, like it's like mostly it's not true, because everyone says it. What I think in like personally is that Eurorack. So of course, like when we started to create modules initially, some kind of like some technologies advance. We have seen new protocols like ART and so on, but it's like kind of to incorporate them, or will they be alive? I have either heavy doubts, or it should be like it's very hard to implement for everyone, and it will be very costly for the customers. So, but we see some kind of I see some trends, and they are actually very simple as always. So the most simple protocols will survive everything. So basically, we have the new Godspeed. Well, it's the Godspeed like Mark II. Let's call it like Godspeed, new Godspeed, and since many years it's a kind of bread and butter oscillator, but it's a really like what makes it special is like okay, so it was like the same auto-tuning oscillator. We have some kind of folders with a sine wave, and we have even odd with a kind of more like a synthesizer voice, and so the important thing is the median. And so there was like since the beginning of the like when the sequentials with the Yamaha with Dave Roger Lynn, they just agreed on the kind of MIDI protocols. There were also others, like many other protocols of like datas and so on, but only MIDI survived because it was kind of that simple, and it's still like MIDI 2.0 is still like have lots of features and so on, but to implement all those features is like enormous things. It's like developers have to rewrite the whole engine of the module. So basically the simple things work best. So and sometimes you can just do so, and like based on also the experience of how Julia performed, so we just always wanted like I was asking the sound engineer, just like when she was playing, like 1 hour before, they need to turn on the system so it is warming up, because sometimes the tune after 10-15 minutes, without warming up the oscillators, it's just getting a bit off, so you need to tune it on, because afterwards she's playing like one and an hour show, and it's kind of like if it's in the end of the show, it is getting off. Sorry. If the tune is getting off, so she has to close the voice, so it's kind of not a full experience. So that's why it's like I think the media was really cool, because it's the same time. So instead of like getting CV just from the sequencer, we can just connect with the media, and without any warming up, it just plays and boom, it just
and it transmits the data what you usually transmit with CV and gate.
Only CV. It's only pitch. Only pitch. We are still considering like if the pitch bend. Well, maybe we can like finish the pitch bend, but it's not that kind of that important, because anyway you have volt per octave. With volt per octave you can use LFO for the vibrato, and you can just use the envelope. For example, if you make kind of kicks and so on with the tune kicks, so you just can get the pitch envelope and so on.
But sonically the Godspeed compared to Godspeed 1 and this one. I think
so it's almost like it's just even waveform was just a bit slightly more sawtooth based, because just to make it more ACD, and before the previous Godspeed the even waveform was basically double frequency saw with sine wave, so it was kind of a bit more even, but it was less acid always, but it was kind of it's just a matter of taste that I just felt, but it's just like a small tiny 1 second harmonic that was slightly lower, and it's not that kind of it's analog wave shapers.
Okay. Yeah. And I remember you had this very clever idea to put a tuner in also in a module, and the auto tune. Now it is auto tune that you put shots with the press on the button and you tune it. You put this now in the 1U also. Yeah, well, in 1U, but that the first thing that was when I do in the first generator, I even like I coded myself the tuners. That was the only code I did, and it costed me a bit of a fortune, because it was not the best one, but at least it was analyzing the tune. When I was starting
starting doing oscillator, for me was a nightmare to imagine how I will tune it per octave and how I will just make it trackable, because tracking, how I check it, I just know the time, see the counter on the scope, and I just need to multiply it. It was kind of hard. So the tuners, I found a simple algorithm, so I know which direction I need to turn the screw to scale the volt per octave, and I was just like adding offset and screwing. So it was, in the end, I found a way very efficiently and quickly, like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, I could tune the further generator, each of the things, like both oscillators, in like 2 minutes, and just quickly make a batch. Because it's not like lots of manufacturers, when they are just like when they start to manufacture, they solder at house, they sniff all those kind of without extruders, and it's getting not that cool, because the people, when they become manufacturers, they lose personal life, and it's very important to delegate as many as possible to the companies, or at least to just not do them yourself, So I was finding that kind of easy tuners, and afterwards I spoke with my friend. Let's do auto tuners. It's just a bit adding there until it's kind of like autofocus in the cameras,
Okay.
just like back and forth until it just finds the proper thing. So basically we did it in the gateway, and then I just made it a small dual auto tuner. That right now it's basically small autopilot. It's a kind of a very 6 HP.
And it works with every other oscillator also on the market. So it's not just with you.
It's just it's like same as with the Cork tuner. You remember the ones that you posted. It works just with a simple waveform. It will not work with a ton of waveforms, because analyzed FFT is hard for such kind of small processors. You cannot have. But with all the simple oscillators, you just even like apply simple waveform. You just put pitch CV in the breakout and put the note reference note with the keyboard, and you are just and your notes on the MIDI TV keyboard will correspond to the proper.
This is one other module of your One U lineup, because you put a lot of modules now in the some of your modules in your One U. And I think there's also a demand for this, because many people use it for on performance for cases on the go. Many of the One U.
Because it's like the cases with One U are kind of right now they are how to say. Yes, lots of people use them, but I would say, like, since the modules become more simplified, or becomes more like a breaking on the voices, I think there was a moment when you need to have a huge case, and right now, as you have the modules more like simplified, so for example, the Godspeed with the Ghost is one voice, and I can put like a few of that voices in the rack. So basically, and with the sequencer and with the Queen of Pentacles and just there, I can fit everything into the 104 HP 6U. So basically 1U is nice, because it's like you have less crossing of the cables and so on. But in the end, if it's possible to downsize less with the same voices.
Okay, and then these are already available, or it still takes a bit time?
Basically we expecting, like, in 1 week we're expecting the batches arriving. So it's already in like it's finishing production, let's say.
Price point?
200 euros.
Okay.
65 euros.
I could only recommend Godspeed because I love it. It's so small and so versatile as an oscillator. It's perfect. I have the first version. And love it.
We try to the chips crisis is gone. So, and right now is a moment when we can really we optimize the production as much as possible. There is no strong zero. Everything is on one processor. So we basically merged the through zero VCO core, and we merged the AutoPilot on one processor and added with added media. So it was a kind of all optimizing and so on. But now the auto-tune is instant. So because the problem of the analog oscillators, even I have OBX8 and it doesn't have in low range because they simply cannot control oscillators in low range. So the problems that analog oscillators in low range, they are very hard to. You need to count the cycles to understand and just very slow tune it, And of course, Godspeed was slowly tuning in the low range, That's why it's better to tune in the upper range and then you go in the low. But right now, It's just no matter of the range, even like if you are 20 hertz or 30 hertz or 45. Usually we advise probably 49 hertz would be cool, because 49 hertz is like G note, is a kick drum of the 909 oscillator, 909 drum machine, and basically it's like 50 hertz. All the clubs are tuned to 50 hertz, and basically we have a tuning to the C, G, and A. So you just can switch to the G.
Okay.
You automatically find your, without even volt per octave, you find your like oscillator frequency like 40 hertz, 49. You just tune it, and then you pass it through the VCA. From the another envelope, you could put a bit of proportionally add pitch envelope, and you basically kind of very precisely tuned kick drum. So you can just make a tuned kick drums, and like lots of people. I mean, in a way. So I think during the mixing you can tune them to make them more in phase with the bass. It's a cool, but I mean now you can do that very efficiently, because in the low range it's very hard to control.
Okay, then we know also what's new for Superbooth 24 from Endorphins. So where we can catch you up this year? So yeah, visiting other events, or you will be at the Modular in Barcelona, or can people catch you up?
Basically, it's a good one. We will be in the Sonar area.
Okay.
There is a Sonar D+, and D+ is basically like it's a technological like people come and
Famous Sonar festival, yeah.
And so there is a technological area where some manufacturer can show up. So we will be with other manufacturers, and with some there will be some local scene, and some outside. I don't remember the names. So we will be and Sonar.
Okay.
A part of
Come over.
yeah.
Julia?
Come over to our sonar booth.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, we will see. You know, it's like right now it's hard to plan, because right now we are also like doing like, if you are more into the development. So if you see like many manufacturers are not coming because they're also mostly in the development. Sometimes if you have something interesting, you come. So that's why it's like not that like you have tight schedule.
So we will see you again on the road somewhere, or Julia when she plays live.
Yeah, also Dutch Modular Fest. I forgot to mention Dutch Modular Fest in August. I will be there.
With Paul Tass and our other friends from
I love Paul Tass.
and Mr. Allert. And Mr. Allert.
Yes, Adler.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then I wish you. I know there are some hours left on this edition of Superbooth 24. Then I'm looking forward for the future of Endorphins, what we will see then from modules and so on. But now we have these things.
I think there will be lots of interesting things coming up. More.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, Julia, for the camera.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you.
And see you soon in the next video. Bye.